Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be reacting to Renata Glasc. How this works is I'm going to take a look at their biography and story that's on the League of Legends website, and then we're going to move on to see if they have any cinematics, any trailers, or anything like that, and check out their gameplay spotlight. Then we finally move on to the skins, the wiki, and then we end off on the voice lines and interactions. Now, during this reaction, I hope to hear from you guys in the comments because I do not play League of Legends myself. I'm just really like learning about the characters and the lore and the world of Runeterra and League of Legends. So it's a really fun trip, but I don't know anything about all of this stuff, so it's a little bit helpful if you guys let me know in the comments. If you end up enjoying the reaction, I really appreciate a like on the video. It does help the YouTube algorithm. It does help, YouTube know that you like the kind of content that you're watching. And consider subscribing to the channel. We got a bunch of other League of Legends reactions you can check out. All right, now on to the reaction. All right, everybody, starting off with the biography. We got Renata Glasc, the Chem Baroness. So I think from previous comments, I've heard she's from Zaun or lives in Zaun. And there's a possibility she could be in Arcane. I have no idea. The quote we have here says, "We don't have to be enemies. Let me change your mind." Okay, so from just that quote alone, we get the idea that she is a business person or likes to negotiate or, is a smart person, right? Because usually a smart person tries to, negotiate their way or outwit somebody like this, right? And then the role is support. Yep, there we go. Region is on. The related champions are Camille. Very cool. I like Camille a lot. Echo, that makes sense. Victor, and is that Zeri? Okay, I know Zeri's a little bit of a newer champ. Victor, we of course have in Arcane. Echo, we have in Arcane. Camille would be cool in Arcane. I don't know how Camille would work in that show, but very cool. These related champions make sense. And then the paragraph here says, Renata Glasc rose from the ashes of her childhood home with nothing but her name and her parents' alchemical research. In the decades since, she has become Zaun's wealthiest chem baron, a business magnate who built her power by tying everyone's interests to her own. Work with her and be rewarded beyond measure. Work against her and live to regret it, but everyone comes to her side eventually. Yeah, see, very, very much makes sense there. So we got what is she exactly? She's a powerhouse in Zaun, right? So she's she's one of the wealthiest chem barons. Okay, so that could very well easily get into the show of Arcane, in my opinion. Now, we haven't seen her whatsoever, but she could be somebody like, let's say Arcane moves ahead a few years, after, they go to war and everything because of what happened at the end of that show. She could be definitely like somebody in the second season, in my opinion. All right, here's like a full better on look with her. I don't know what this is. Is this like her staff? There's the purple shimmer, right? Is this shimmer that we got from the show here coming out of this like staff or whatever? I'm not sure. And it looks like she's like full or filled with it in her arm here at least. And then the mask, I wonder, is just so she doesn't breathe in bad chemicals and so on. I don't know. We'll find out more. Life had not always been good to Renata Glasc. Her parents were brilliant alchemists focused on innovations for the healing arts. Dedicated to their work in their community in Zaun, they gave their care and their cures to anyone in need, regardless of whether their patient could afford them. Renata grew up accustomed to going to bed hungry, resentful of her parents' ideology, yet powerless to change her circumstances. She dreamed of the ships that sailed through Piltover's Sungate Canal, imagining herself taking the wheel and steering her life in a new direction toward the riches of the world. Okay, so she didn't like that her parents were essentially, they were essentially like community volunteer nurses kind of for the people down there, but they didn't take care of their own child in the same way, it seems like, because she would often go to bed hungry. When she was old enough to join the family business, it was quickly discerned that Renata had no aptitude for alchemy. She did, however, have ideas about turning a profit. In her first sales pitch, Renata convinced her parents that they wouldn't need to ask anything more than people could give if they started treating wealthier Zaunites. With loyal patients extolling the Glasc's talents to their betters, their charity work was soon paid for by the rates Renata set for the rich. Okay, so yeah, right off the bat, even at a younger age, Renata was straight up a business person. Like I told you, she knew what she was doing to make money, right? And especially growing up in Zaun, Zaun isn't seen as the wealthiest city, right? So, yeah, this is a really good person to have down there. Instead of living comfortably, however, the Glasc spent that money developing a highly refined chemtech formula to extend the lives of their sickest patients. No matter what they did, the formula had always unwanted side effects, such as making their patients extremely suggestible or extremely violent, so they continued to try and improve their work. Only Renata, bitter at what her parents chose to do with the money she had earned them, wondered if the formula could be useful as is. Now, this isn't, picturing her, this isn't like showing Renata as like the best kind of character, right, in terms of her ethics or whatever. She's just all about money, and that's kind of all she really seems to care about. She doesn't care about the actual patients that need help. I get it in a way, but let's find out more. Up in Piltover, the elite clan leaders who had been making money off Zonite medical stopgaps heard whispers of the Glasc family's research. Not willing to let anything threaten their bottom line, they paid off a handful of enforcers to take care of it. Renata woke to the sound of her parents' screams as her home burned down around them. She lost her arm trying and failing to save them. Wow. Okay, so that's why we have the arm, which looks like it has shimmer in it, which she probably ends up perfecting or something, right? With only her family name and the scraps of research that survived the fire, Renata swore to avoid her parents' mistake of thankless altruism. Instead, she threw herself into building her meager inheritance into something bigger, something that could give her anything she'd never had, something that could give her money and power and control, an empire. As the years passed, she became the brains behind several successful small-time operations while building relationships with unsavory but influential individuals throughout the city. She'd give people jobs, lend them money, and give them medicine for their sick children, but never for free. Okay, so she is helping people, just not for free. Profit, profit, profit. And that kind of makes sense with... we just did our most recent reaction was with Set. We're working with another person that knows how to make money. You make a profit for any kind of talent you have is kind of what we're getting at here. If you're good at something, if you know how to do something, why not make money from it, in my opinion, right? If they couldn't pay in coin, she demanded their loyalty. Renata quickly realized that genius was the rarest and most lucrative commodity in Zon and devised a plan to invest in destitute youths with the talent for innovation. See? Told you. She's a smart person. We knew that right off the bat just from that quote that we read. She offered a space to work and stability for their families in exchange for their work in perpetuity. The poorest among them couldn't afford to say no. Renata found herself with plentiful access to new and unique product designs and novel uses for the Chemtech formula that was her parents' legacy. Profits soared. She then established Glasc Industries after purchasing the first of what would eventually be dozens of factories to manufacture her high-end Chemtech products. Okay, so we got high-end Chemtech products now. Glasc Industries quickly expanded across Zon, from Chemtech mining operations to dance halls to refineries, angering some barons who held monopolies over the ventures. But one by one, Renata persuaded them all to go into business with her. Wow. I mean, that she must be really good then. And just like that, Renata quietly managed to become a Chem Baron in her own right, and no one could push back for fear of upsetting their own cash flow. While Glasc Industries flourished, Renata herself remained in the shadows, waiting for the right time to make her next move. That time came after a chemical accident sent poisonous fumes sweeping through the streets of Zon, leaving the city in its worst state in decades. Now, see, this could be something that maybe occurs in the show or something. You know what I mean? I want to see if she ends up getting introduced into the show. Amidst the noxious gray clouds, Glasc Industries offered basic breathers and replacement filters to everyone in the city for free. Okay. Now, everyone in Zon knew of Renata Glasc and her benevolence. She had earned Zon's loyalty. Man, okay, she is super smart. She literally saw an opportunity. Now, I mean, she's doing it to make her own company more popular or whatever, right? But she did it in a way that also helped the citizens of Zon, and she did it for free, right? But in a sense, it made people know about her and Glasc Industries. Word of her generosity swept through Piltover as well. For the first time, shopkeepers looked seriously at Renata's elegant and ultra-refined Chemtech designs and soon lined their shelves with her products. Now every fashionable Piltovan owns at least one Glasc Industries product. Oh wow, I did not know that. And the wealthiest among them vie to sit beside Renata at novelty galas and the Opera House. But Renata's plan was never to be a Chem Baron in Zon or the corporate darling of Piltover. No, she aims to take Piltover's source of financial power for herself, the Sungate she had dreamed of so often in her youth. For she who controls the Sungate controls the flow of trade, and she who controls the trade controls the world. With the secret cache of her parents' Chemtech formula embedded in every Glasc product in both Piltover and Zon, ready to be released at her command, side effects and all, it's only a matter of time before everyone works for Renata Glasc. Whoa, okay. That's a big plot line that could totally happen in the show. Maybe not in the second season, maybe in third season if we ever get that. But that's a pretty good villain for the show, in my opinion. If she truly, if we get this whole idea of Glasc Industries, all the wealthy in Piltover having it, and a lot of people in Zon having some sort of Glasc Industries thing, or just, her being down there, she could totally take over the Sungate with this plot of... everybody's got Glasc Industries in them, but yet little do they know she has like a kill switch on it, right? And she just like poisons all of Piltover because so many people up there own her product and are even selling it and have some sort of Glasc Industries thing built into their body. That is a pretty cool, interesting origin story. I think she's a really cool character. We always love super smart characters like this, like the smart villain. You always can appreciate superheroes or heroes in a story, but sometimes they're not as good if the villain of the story also isn't as good. So, you know, that's a real good example of like how the Dark Knight movie is one of the better superhero movies because the Joker in that was portrayed so well by Heath Ledger and it is seen as like a smart character in the way they conduct their business, right? And I think Renata Glasc is a good example of another villain. I'm going to say villain, but maybe she's not technically a villain. She just, you know, I don't know. She wants to take over the Sun Gate. So maybe we can call her a villain. She is an interesting character that I want to keep an eye on, and hopefully we maybe get her in the future for Arcane. Okay, so just from the art here on the story called Right on Time, we're seeing a big explosion down here and her just holding, you know, a cup of, I don't know what this is, wine or whatever. She's got her staff here again with the shimmer just coming out of it or whatever we want to call it. So this is a planned thing. Oh, she has a pistol. That pistol looks really cool. Yeah, this is probably a planned thing that's going on down in Zon. She also has red eyes from what I can see here. I don't know if that's normal, if that's just part of the art, but I'm really curious. Let's get into the story. Okay, so 1817, I'm assuming time of the day, so we're going to say it's 6:17. Renata Glasc's heels click angrily against the marble floors on her way to the front door. It's a long walk, and her annoyance grows as the bells screech out the same cloying tune a second time. The mechanical fingers of her left hand unfurl as she reaches for the latch, twisting and snapping into the necessary shapes, embedding in the bespoke lock as its one and only key. She throws open the ornate copper door and looks down at her visitor. Maeve, all of Renata's high-ranking subordinates, had been informed that her priority for the evening was debuting her decanter at the Vasella Novelty Gala. Okay, so maybe that's where the explosion's going to happen. Miss Glasc, the shorter woman says with a curt nod, her prosthetic iron eyes rattling against the glass of her gel-filled goggles. Sorry to interrupt. It must be important. We've gotten wind of a new type of breather, not just a filtration unit, an air purifier. Renata's eyes flash. My advisor said we had nothing to worry about on that front. Maeve shrugs. Not her department. Who's manufacturing it? Baron Meidenstoke. Not sure where yet. She glances at her gaudy Piltovan clock. The gala begins in just under 2 hours. Her presentation slot is at precisely 21:05, and she hasn't even had time to pick up the decanter from the laboratory yet. She sighs. It looks as though the gala will have to start without her. Time to get the night back under control. All right, so we're moving ahead to 1856. Basil, a worm of a man, grovels at Renata's feet, dirtying her office floor with his soot-stained tears. I'm sorry, he chokes out, breath still rank from whatever swill he'd been drinking when she'd interrupted his visit to the Corradine tap room. I'll get the money to you in a week, 2 at the most. Renata says nothing, letting Basil squirm and sob on the floor a little longer. He had come to her for a loan 6 months ago for his wife's replacement leg after an accident at a machinist's shop. Renata gave him what he asked for and got him a well-paying factory job to boot. But after his wife died from sepsis and Basil tried to drown his sorrows at the tap room, it's no surprise he can't pay. It's what she's counting on. Do you think, she asked finally, that I need that money? That I would even miss it? I'm not interested in money, dear Basil. Keep it. Basil's eyes fill with the tears of gratitude. Thank you, he whispers, Miss Glasc. Yeah, because you know why? If she can't get money out of people, she'll get something else because, you know, they owe her. And like if they owe her a decent amount of money, she's going to use them in another way that will benefit her, right? But she holds up a finger to quiet him. There's something I need from you. Anything. You're still working for Meidenstoke, yes? Got a nice little promotion last month. Basil's face falls. Not everyone has the stomach to get between 2 chem barons. He swallows hard. I can get you your money in 4 days, Miss Glasc. Oh, he doesn't even want to do it. He's like, okay, I'll get the money. I'll get you the money. No, Basil, Renata Glasc leans down. She can see the sheen of sweat on his forehead. You'll get me the information I need, and you'll get it to me within the hour. All right, 2023. We moved ahead about an hour and a half. Elidat carefully moves aside the vials and burners, the metals and wires, the tools and masks that litter her own private workspace, and lays out the first few pages of designs. Renata watches as the divisor dons a loop, looking closely at all the details that make these new breathers tick. There are few she would trust with this new alchemical technology, but Elidat has proven her worth time and again since she first entered Renata's employ at age 12. Oh, wow. These are unbelievable, Elidat breathes reverently. No filter system, no place for the toxins in the air to go. They just destroy the toxins, eliminate them completely. Okay, so now we're getting like kind of corporate espionage here, really. And you understand how it works, Renata asks. Would you be able to replicate the results in a similar product? Without question, Elidat's fingers twitch excitedly. Is this my next project? It is, she pauses, but make some part of it necessary to replace. Filters are a great way to keep money rolling in. Find our version of that for a purifier. Renata looks at Maeve, who's standing in the corner near the door and awaiting instructions. We're sure about the factory? Maeve nods. My scouts confirmed it. Just beneath mine and Stokes' dance hall on the promenade, as Basil said. Excellent. 22:30 then. That should give us both plenty of time. Maeve turns to leave, but Renata stops her and glances at the divisor. Eladat, the decanter's show ready? Yes? Eladat snorts as she marks up the design documents. Of course, Miss Renata. Beside the divisor's workstation sits the decanter prototype, a weapon, a tool, a mechanized wonder attuned only to the gestures of Renata's left hand. Okay, we're getting more. Yeah, what is this? All elegant lines of gold and brass, both sinuous and sharp, protective yet delicate. Bubbling inside the contraption is the glowing magenta liquid that encompasses Renata's entire inheritance. Okay. Renata twirls one of her mechanical fingers in the air. In response, one of the vials attached to the decanter fills with a pink gas. She plucks a breather from Eladat's desk and grabs the vial, clicking it into the mask in place of a filtration unit. What is this? Yeah, what is going on with this decanter? Okay. Make things easy on yourself, she says as she tosses the mask to Maeve. With a nod, Maeve exits. Miss Renata, the divisor looks at the floor as Renata turns back to her. How are my parents? I haven't seen them in, yeah. They've just bought a house, Renata says casually, and I found work for your brother and his fiancée at a cultivar. Your work has kept them very happy. A pause. You should visit them. Eladat's head snaps up. Really? Absolutely. With a beckoning gesture from Renata, the decanter's thrusters fire, lifting into the air. It bobs beside her as she walks toward the door after the demonstration. You can kind of see it as manipulation, but the people that she has working for her, she's trying to keep them happy, but like it's almost manipulation in a way. She's like keeping them happy so they continue working for her, right? And now finally the announcer says with a glare at Renata, we have the newest product from Glass Industries, presented by the fabulous Renata Glasc herself. Renata, darling, please join us on the stage. So she's a little late for this, right? With practiced ease, Renata steps out from behind the curtain to ravenous applause. Wealthy Piltovans, dressed to impress, fill the Vasella clan's lavish ballroom, eager to hear about the newest novelties from their favorite Zonite. The announcer claps politely, though his eyes roll at this level of excitement from the audience. Renata removes her mask. Every breath she takes of the empty Piltovan air cuts her throat like glass, but still she smiles. A big thank you to the Vasella clan for having me. What a treat it is to spend an evening in your beautiful city. Okay, so literally just the breath of nothing in the air, just like clean air, cuts her throat like glass. That's kind of crazy. For many of you, Chemtech is a scary word, an ugly word, one of iron and decay. What then could a Zonite have to offer Piltover? Glasc Industries has shown you time and again that Chemtech doesn't have to be ugly, and tonight I'm going to show you that it can be beautiful. A flick of her wrist and the decanter floats across the stage past the announcer to Renata. Delighted gasps punctuate the murmur of the crowd. So easily pleased, so hopelessly naive. The Glasc Industries decanter, a milestone in the world of healing. Alchemist and nursemaid all in one, creating medicine and administering it in the same breath. She's interrupted by the announcer coughing into his sleeve. She turns to him, knowing full well that none of the chemicals in the decanter are strictly medicinal. Would our kind announcer be interested in helping with a demonstration? Okay, 22:29. Renata sips her sparkling wine as yet another potential investor approaches her. Across the room, the announcer stands beside the decanter and hands out Renata's business cards, just as Renata has suggested. She peers at her pocket watch and walks toward a balcony with a phenomenal evening view of Piltover. Below, even Zon's promenade level is visible from here. 22:30. An explosion lights up in the promenade right about where Baron Meidenstokes' dance hall is. In fact, or rather where it used to be. But no one... Okay, so that's what the image is up top. But no one in the Vasella clan's ballroom seems to care. A glance, the most any of them spare for the tragedy down in Zon. It's beneath them. Except for Renata Glasc, who watches with a chuckle and takes another sip of her fine Piltovan wine. All right, cool. So this story shows us, number one, she has a slew of staff, or, you know, I mean, we'll call them staff, that help her out and help her in her business and become more powerful and rich in Zon. Number two, we can clearly see that she kind of has a firm grasp on all the wealthy Piltovan people, right? They all come out to see her new inventions. They just want to see what kind of things she's building to make their lives better. But little do they know, she's not really got their best needs in mind. It's more about money, and it's more about getting what she wants. Number three, we find out that she is into corporate espionage. If there's another chem baron, she's going to steal your design and she will make it better and make more money from it, right? And she'll also destroy your factory. She doesn't care. So we learned a lot about her just from this story, which is really cool. That's what we want from these kinds of stories. Sometimes the stories don't give us all that information, but this one totally did. I definitely want to see this character in Arcane. Season 2, I don't know if it will focus on this kind of stuff in my opinion, because what we clearly have going on in Arcane is going to be more on Jinx and Vi and Caitlyn and stuff, right? And Jace and the war that's going to happen between Piltover and Zaun. So this might not be a thing for season 2. This might be like a season 3 thing. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments about, you know, this biography here and the story for Renata Glasc. All right, everybody, let's do the champion trailer now for Renata Glasc.
The difference between medicine and poison is the dosage. Allow me to demonstrate.
I like that art there. Okay, she just crushed the vial.
My favorite part of the job.
Okay, we got the big scepter here.
Testing.
Interesting.
Oh, I love it.
The cackle, man. The villainous cackle.
Move now.
All right, what can she do?
Die for me.
I assume she puts a bunch of like poison on people.
I don't need to get my hands dirty.
The walk,
I do
though.
enjoy it.
The strut. She holds people in place, it looks like. I mean, we're going to do the gameplay spotlight next, but...
Work for me or work against me.
Oh.
Doesn't matter.
She takes the
Everyone
jacket off.
Comes to my side eventually.
Whoa, what was that? What did that thing just do?
Make it, Samira. Those guns are mine by right.
Okay.
Step aside,
Looks like she always starts off with that same move. That one right there.
Don't think, just do. Get over here. Remember who helped you in your hour
So there's like a bunch of poison on it? What was that?
Cross Renata Glasc.
Oh, she has a gun too?
We don't have to be enemies. Let me change your mind.
We don't have to be enemies. Let me change your mind. I like that voice line. What is happening? What is this? What is this slow-mo? What is happening?
Progress.
Wow.
Competition is for the weak.
Oh, she's dancing among all the bodies. That's wild. Wow. I keep calling it a scepter, but there's got to be an actual name for what that thing is called. Maybe they'll tell us in the champion spotlight.
Miss Glasc, if you value your life.
It's Miss Glasc if you value your life. I love that voice line. I'm sure the voice lines are going to be pretty darn good. All right, let's do the spotlight now. All right, spotlight's 4.5 minutes. Let's get into it. I want to know what all those moves were.
You up for me now.
Renata Glasc climbed her way from rags to Chemtech riches, becoming the most powerful Chem Baron in Zaun. Now her eyes are set on Piltover, and as a master of persuasion, she knows exactly how to get what she wants.
It's
Whoa.
just business.
She's
What
a
was that?
proactive enchanter who weaves both sides of the battlefield to her command.
Okay.
But whose side is she really on? Her own, of course.
I'll make you kill your loved ones is a more effective threat than any gun.
Dang.
Welcome to the Renata Glasc Champion Spotlight.
Yeah, I want to get a big breakdown of like what actually is going on with all these abilities, because I'm not quite sure yet. I can't really tell.
This boss is used to having the upper hand thanks to her passive Leverage.
Leverage,
Her
okay.
basic attacks apply a mark that deals bonus damage, which her allies can detonate, dealing even more damage.
I'll make a killing off of this.
Like any business deal, be sure to choose your targets wisely. Only one can be marked at a time.
Okay.
Her Q, Handshake, sends out a
Handshake.
missile that damages and roots the first enemy hit.
That's the ability
She
I
can
kept
then
seeing.
recast the ability to nudge your competitor in the right direction, which is, of course, whatever direction she chooses.
You can push them away from you or
The
towards you.
Hapless
Cool.
Fool damages all enemies hit. And if she throws a champion, those enemies are also stunned.
I said
Nice.
jump.
Put her
Cool.
there. Renata Glasc's always
Bail
willing to
out.
lend a hand so long as there's interest. Bailout buffs an ally with increased attack speed and movement speed toward enemies.
You're
Oh,
welcome.
okay. Toward enemies.
Allies who manage to kill an enemy during the buff will reset its duration.
High class
Oh, nice.
Chemtech.
That's a pretty good support buff.
If her investment would die while buffed, Bailout grants her ally a fresh, full health bar that
Wow.
quickly decays before finally dying.
Okay.
However, allies that get kills or assists in this decaying state heal and stop the decay,
They stay alive.
saving their life.
Wow. Okay. That could be
This
very
health bar
useful.
reset won't interrupt channels or abilities as they don't die just yet, so teammates at death's door can take full advantage of Renata Glasc's incentives.
Yeah.
Remember who helps you in your hour of need.
Her abilities all make
With her
sense so
E
far.
loyalty program,
Loyalty
Renata Glasc
program.
fires a missile that detonates at the end of its path, damaging and slowing all enemies encountered.
Slowing
Your
as well.
value is dropped.
Similarly, allies affected by this missile receive a shield. Better sign
Oh,
up. This
whoa.
deal won't last forever.
Okay, the shield is pretty cool addition to
With her
that.
ultimate, Hostile Takeover, Renata Glasc sends out a cloud of toxic chemicals. Enemies caught in the fumes succumb to her influence and go berserk. While
What?
berserk, their attack speed increases and they'll attack the closest target starting with their own teammates.
Starting with their own teammate.
If
What?
other enemies aren't around, they'll go up the chain of command, starting with Renata Glasc's allies and ending with herself.
Okay.
Everybody wants to be my enemy.
That's a really cool ultimate.
In the early game, Renata Glasc should rely on leverage to punish poor positioning and help her lane partner with trades.
Her business. So she actually
Create
shoots her gun, which
opportunities
is
for
cool.
kills with slows, roots, and pulls that dominate the market. If you chain your CC, you'll win the fight before it's even begun.
Ready to
Dang.
take control.
Okay.
Teammates need a bailout? No problem. Rescue your assets at the right time, and you can always turn a fight around.
A worthy
Wow.
investment.
But stay away from risky investments. For what Renata Glasc boasts in Engage, she lacks in mobility and escape.
Right, I was gonna say she has no mobility abilities, right? I just realized
So wait
that.
for the right moment to secure the deal, and you can watch Renata Glasc's enemies destroy themselves.
Time to make
She has none
some new
whatsoever, yeah.
business partners.
Oh, see, that was a good ult there.
Set up plays for your team with opportune buffs, shields, and roots. And when they succeeded, make sure you take all the credit.
I'll bill you later.
Don't underestimate
Oh.
the pull of Renata Glasc. One way or
Oh,
another,
that's a
you'll be working
really
for her
good
eventually.
one.
Ready to invest in the Cam Baroness? Check out the links below.
Ambition
I like
isn't
that skin a
greed.
lot. All right, well, we're going to be getting into the skins next, but let's talk about her character a little bit and her abilities. Yeah, so I didn't realize until then. So, I mean, of course, not every character, like, it's not going to make sense for every character to have some sort of mobility kind of ability because, you know, it's just not part of their character or their lore, or it's just not part of, like, who they kind of are as a, you know, what role they have in the game. So it does kind of make sense that she doesn't have an ability kind of thing that does that for her, because why would it make sense for her? She's really just a normal person. Why would she have some sort of ability that allows her to move around the map a little bit quicker? So I do like all of this. I think the handshake rooting is a very good ability. Actually, all of these abilities to me seem very good. She doesn't seem like a too hard of a character either to use, except for the fact that she doesn't have the mobility aspect to her. So like if I were a newer player, I feel like I might die a little bit more with her just because of the fact that she doesn't have the mobility to like get out or anything like that. Even her bailout ability is more for other teammates. They're not for you. And same thing with the E for the missiles. It's all kind of like supportive stuff for your teammates. The rooting is obviously good for you or your teammates. And then the ultimate is very good just in general. I think her ultimate's really cool. I like just that it shoots a big wave. I don't know how often. I'm sure there's a lot of like at the higher levels, a lot of people can probably just avoid her ultimate unless she's like right up in their face just using it. Then it's almost unavoidable if they don't have like a mobility ability up. So I get that. But I'm sure she's pretty good in pro play. You guys let me know. I'm always curious to know how these characters play in the actual game. Let me know the meta. Let me know, you know, how well she's actually in the game. All right, guys, we have the champion theme for Renata Glasc. I like this little art that we have already off the bat. So this is obviously, she's not that very old of a character. So let's go ahead and see. We got 3 minutes left here. Oh, this is very different already off the bat. Starting off kind of slow and eerie. Oh, there's her Glasc symbol. Okay. Off with the breather off there. Oh. Oh, we're getting like some saxophone and some piano. Oh, it's almost like jazz noir kind of. I'm actually a big fan of like noir type stuff. Like LA Noir, that kind of game. That kind of vibe. That's what I'm getting from this theme. Oh, now it totally just changed. Oh, I like that pause there with the background beat and then it just went to the strings. That was great. Yeah, I'm getting like noir, jazz, nightclub kind of music vibes from this. Which is good. I really love like that era and like that type of film too. We're getting a mixture of other stuff in the song though too. Okay. Oh wow, does the arm actually open like that, or was that a concept? It's probably concept, right? Because these are the different concepts for the canter. Oh, that's cool. It's really awesome seeing the concept art for these. I'm glad they started doing that with the newer champs. What is that? Is that a flute? Maybe a piccolo or something? Interesting that they went with the flute instead of the saxophone again. Well, I mean, there's the saxophone again in the background, but... Oh, there's Admiral one. I like that one. This might be one... Okay, I don't know if it's my favorite theme, but... This one is way different than any of the other ones, in my opinion. I probably say that every time, but... You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if we've... This one was a lot slower. I mean, it obviously picked up a little bit, but, you know, none of the other ones, like, I can say that had a noir vibe to them or anything like that. And I don't know what their inspiration was for this theme specifically. You guys let me know your thoughts. I mean, the saxophone, it really is what drove it home for me for, like, the noir vibe or the jazz nightclub kind of... I keep saying vibe, but that's the only thing I can think of. And I don't know if it necessarily fits her character, but like I said, I'm really into that kind of era or that time, you know, like the police detective noir type of films and like the LA noir game. I really enjoy that game and that kind of era. And this music really reminded me of it. I guess it could kind of fit in the way of like, she's kind of mysterious and I don't know, she's got like this boss lady vibe to her, and maybe that music kind of fits in that way. I'm not quite sure. I almost wanted to say this is one of my favorite themes, actually, which I do say for some of them. But this one, I don't know if it's my favorite, but I do think it's way more unique than some of the other ones, because I don't think, well, you know, it did have a little bit of the riot flair in there with like the beats and the drums and like when it really picked up, but I liked how the song actually started. It felt way more different than some of the other themes. You guys let me know, though, your thoughts on the theme. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if it's necessarily one of my faves. I don't think it is for a lot of other people, but maybe this one will grow on people. I did enjoy this one quite a bit. All right, of course, guys, taking a look at Renata Glasc skins, we only have 3 because she is definitely a newer character. She's only like, what, maybe a year old or so, a year and a half or something like that. So not very old. But we do have the original skin here. I think it's pretty cool. I think her jacket and just her whole attire is really awesome. The arm, of course, looks really, really cool. Goes with the scepter and everything like that. But I did see this skin. Yeah, see Admiral Glasc. Now, this reminds me of, what's his name from Street Fighter? M. Bison. That's my first thought when I see this skin. But it's kind of just like a cool admiral. You can see there's like a galactic civil war according to the little paragraph here. Like there's a bunch of flying ships and she's like an admiral in this war. She looks really cool. I think the hair is awesome. The blonde hair is pretty cool. The hat and just the whole outfit for the Admiral and like the shoulder pads and everything, those look really, really awesome. I think that's probably better than the original, just in my opinion. I think it's really good, but let's see what this third one is. Who in the world is that? Okay, so this is Fright Night. Okay, so we have a Halloween version. That's really cool. I always think every character should have some sort of like Halloween themed skin. You know, same with, you know, the holidays, just, you know, Christmas or whatever you celebrate. I think there should always be some sort of skin. Just every champion should have something like that, in my opinion. So who is that? Who is this character here? What does it say? It says tender loving care and spoons of sugar spice and all the other things that make a mommy nice. It choked her throat and lungs and showed her virtue's vice. Some chosen children love the dark. That's Mother Glasc's advice. Okay, so we got like a little poem here, rhyming poem. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what the theme is here. I don't know who this is. I'm gonna say Nautilus, but there's no way, right? Isn't Nautilus like massive. There's no way this is Nautilus here. If you guys know who this character is, let me know. I think this is pretty cool. I think I mean, it fits the whole Halloween theme, but I do think the Admiral Glasc skin is probably my favorite. Oh, I do want to look at the model here. Yeah. Okay. Of course, we got the different color variations. It looks like the original is probably going to be the best one in terms of color variations, but that's just my opinion. And then let's see for the Fright Night. Are there other... Yeah, Fright Night looks really good in game. I think that's pretty solid. No complaints. Oh, I kind of like that color variation actually of it too. Yeah, you know, the Halloween skins are always fun in my opinion in games, and that's always something I want to use obviously during the Halloween time. And Halloween time is actually coming up according to where I'm recording this. All right, a little bit of trivia down here at the bottom. It says all of Renata's abilities are references to real-world financial terms. Whoa, that's pretty cool. Okay, so we have leveraged. I had like kind of like, I was like, oh, okay, I get bailout. I get handshake, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Hostile takeover, I get that. So leverage, it says finances the use of an above normal amount of debt as opposed to equity or cash to finance the purchase of investment assets. Handshake is the famous accordance social act between two negotiators. Bailout is when a business, an individual, or a government provides money and or resources, also known as a capital injection, to a failing company, which we do a lot of these in America, and it's not the best thing in my opinion. Loyalty program is a marketing strategy designed to encourage customers to continue to shop at or use the services of a business associated with the program. Right. This is like, think of like your you could just really think of your apps, for example, of, you know, like Chick-fil-A or Panda Express or something, and you just get points every time you go there, right? And then hostile takeover occurs when an acquiring company attempts to take over a target company against the wishes of the target company's management. A good example of this is if you watch the Succession TV show. There's a couple seasons there where they go into that. Okay, cool. This was really fun. I think the Admiral Glasc skin, again, is my favorite. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comments. So let me know which skin you guys like the most. Of course, we only have the 3. You know, I imagine there's going to be more coming soon for her. And yeah, I'll be happy to see what we get. All right, so now we're on the Fandom Wiki for Renata Glasc. And of course, her being a little bit of a newer character, it's not going to be completely filled in. There's not going to be a whole lot of information that we know. But let's go ahead and dive into it. So we're starting off with the appearance. Renata Glasc is a middle-aged, lean, and brown-skinned woman. Her hair is black with strains of gray showing. Her eye colors are chemically altered and have a pink and purple hue. Her most notable features are her breather mask, and that she often wears, and an elegantly designed Chemtech augmented left arm infused with chemicals. She wears an expensive white suit and many intricate patterns and accessories. So related characters on the fandom, I never usually take a look at these, but I assume it's just people from... So we got Camille, who's obviously over in Piltover. Victor, Echo, and Zeri. We know Victor from Arcane, Echo from Arcane. Zeri, I know, is another Zonite person that's a little bit newer as well, but I don't know anything about Zeri. And Samira, I'm a little interested why that is, because I don't believe she's from the area, so I don't know. Personality. Renata Glasc is a cunning and ruthless woman determined to achieve her goals no matter what, having built her convictions on her past and doing anything to achieve her goals. Having survived the brutality of Zon's streets, Renata decided to never again be put down. Unlike other Chem Barons, Renata prefers to avoid violence and instead resorts to manipulation, convincing others to do her bidding and satisfy her desires by tying their interests together, thus putting them in debt towards her. Of course, like it's the smarter move, right? She's trying to strategize and outplay other people. To manipulate the masses, she often feigns benevolence, taking advantage of crisis and tragedies to make herself a savior. The trauma from her loss has made her deeply resentful of the idea of charity, deeming it foolish. She has a particular hatred towards Jana for not helping her family when she was young. Oh, okay. That was not mentioned anywhere, I don't think. So cool. Okay, so abilities. We have Alchemist. While not as skilled as her parents, Renata has proven to be a talented alchemist in her own way. She was able to synthesize perfume concoctions from various chemicals with desired side effects. Entrepreneurship as an ability is kind of funny, but Renata is a talented businesswoman able to make secure, lucrative deals in both Piltover and Zon. She amasses considerable wealth through her business ventures, including her perfume company, Glasc Industries. Yeah, see, I really want to see this, or even like teased or like Easter egged in the Arcane show. Gun proficiency. Renata is sometimes seen using a pistol, which she has holstered on her whenever she ventures out in Zon. And leader. Renata is a competent leader, feared and respected amongst Zonites. She would do whatever was necessary to ensure her visions came to pass. All right, so relations. Unnamed parents. Yeah, they weren't ever named to us, were they? Renata held a grudge towards her parents for leaving the family in poverty when she was young. After they died, she looked down on her parents' methods of charity and dedicated herself to becoming successful to prove them wrong. However, underneath, she still genuinely loves her parents and laments their deaths, wanting revenge on the ones which were involved. That makes sense. Okay, here we go. Camille was among the Piltovan nobles responsible for the deaths of Renata's parents in 967 AN. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Victor, after being expelled from the University of Piltover and returning back to Zon, Renata would be responsible for funding Victor's augment research. Okay, is this... See, I haven't done my reaction to Victor yet. It just hasn't really been suggested or whatever, but I'm assuming this is what's going to come to pass in the Arcane show, because we're kind of getting to that point where Victor is going to start augmenting himself, is what it seems like. And I'm assuming he will eventually get expelled, return back to Zon. And then maybe this will happen. And maybe that's when we'll get Renata or something, right? Echo's parents, Wyeth and Inna, were forced to work in terrible conditions under Renata's orders. Ooh, not good. Samira, Renata funded the gunsmiths responsible for selling Samira her guns. Oh, okay. So that's the only way they're really related? Is that like Renata funded the gunsmiths? And so that's how like Samira has her guns, I guess. Wencher Spindlaw. Renata, with her cunning, was able to turn Chembear and Spindlaw to her side to do her dirty work. Okay, we don't know who Wencher Spindlaw is. Zeri. Zeri is a frequent nuisance to Renata, often sabotaging her operations throughout Zon. Okay, well, that kind of sounds fun. You guys let me know if Zeri is somebody I should react to. I mean, I'm going to react to everybody, but, you know, if Zeri is somebody I should react to sooner than later, if we think Zeri might appear in the Arcane show, you know, I want to keep up with the characters that we might see show up in the show. Eladad's family. Eladad began working for Renata since she was 12, and since then became one of Renata's most reliable advisors, with her providing Eladad's family with funds and jobs. After Renata demonstrated her decanter in the Vasella Novelty Gala, she let Eladad visit her family after the demonstration. She also had no problem with Eladad's brother having a same-sex relationship with his male fiance. That must be... Where is this indicated? How do we have that information? All right, that's it, guys. We have just a little bit of trivia here at the bottom, and that's going to be it for the fandom. It says Renata Glasc utilizes a variety of chemicals developed by her parents as opposed to shimmer. Okay, see, I was calling it shimmer, right? Because it has the same color, sort of, basically. But yeah, you know, I soon realized it's something totally different. Her name is Latin in origin and means reborn. Renatus is the original Latin name, okay? Zon's faction icon is based on the Glasc family crest. Wow. Okay, so you can attribute the Zon symbol here, or icon or whatever, to the family crest of Glasc. So it's a very, like, Glasc Industries and just Glasc in general is a very important character. Renata Glasc and her position in the Runeterra Prime universe bear a striking resemblance to Silco's and his position in the Arcane universe. Both are the main rulers of their cities who result in brutal measures to achieve their goals by toppling the supremacy and dependency of Piltover. In fact, Silco served as inspiration for Renata. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. But see, that makes me want them to be separate. I would still want them to be separate characters, though. You know, I don't want Silco and Renata, like, I don't want Silco to just be the Arcane version of Renata, because, you know, they're not exactly the same. They are totally... like they're similar in like their philosophies on like manipulating people and running Zon and hating Piltover and wanting to get revenge on Piltover. But Renata is still her own person, you know, her parents being dead, you know, the way they die, the way she wants to get revenge on Piltover, the way she runs Zon. It's still different than Silco, you know? And then it says, while Silco is seen to use shimmer, the name of Renata's purple substance was never mentioned. Okay. Yeah, it's just a chemical or whatever, right? It's not actually mentioned what it's actually called. Well, yeah, like I said, I want them still to be two separate things, but I'm wondering now that that was mentioned, if Renata comes in like a later season of Arcane, let's just say season 3. I doubt season 2, just the way she is. They would need to do something to differentiate her from Silco. And I think they could do that. The writers of Arcane are very good. I think they could very much do that. But we don't want a repeat of a villain, because that's how things become, I don't want to say boring, but you know, when a villain is very similar to another villain, it's nothing new. And to keep interest in something, not to say that like Renata would not bring interest to the show, but you gotta keep the interest alive and not repeat things, and things become boring when you start to repeat kind of, you know, the similar stuff. So, all right, very cool, guys. Let's go ahead and move on to the voice lines. Let's do it. All right, everybody, as far as I'm aware, there are only voice lines for Renata Glasc in League of Legends. She's not in the Legends of Runeterra just yet. Again, she is a newer character, so I totally get that she might not be in the game. So let's go ahead. We're going to do the voice lines video from Skin Spotlights first, then we'll do the interactions, but I do know there will probably be some repeat within the two videos. This one's 8 minutes. The special interaction 6 minutes, and we'll do that right after. Okay, let's get into it.
2 alchemists were murdered over 30 years ago, Camille. Do you remember them? How were your parents, Echo? If only you'd let me help them. Where were you when we needed you most, Jenna? Entertaining us.
Okay, these are going very fast, but these 3 things were already, we just read about them in the fandom. So we totally understand where those sentences came from in the fandom now, okay?
Jinx. You're wasting both your time and your talent. I will show.
You're wasting your time and your talent. So she acknowledges that Jinx has some talent, but why does she say she's wasting her time? She doesn't think anything's going to come of it, or she thinks Renata's plan is going to be better, maybe.
Your city and laugh as they suffocate Piltover.
Wow.
I bankrolled your pistol's makers, Samira. Those guns are mine by right.
Oh, oh, yeah. Okay, so this is the connection that we have with Samira as well. This is confirming it. So it's all coming from Voicelines. So, yeah, Samira's guns are essentially hers, I guess.
Sing your little songs of unity while you can, traitor.
Seraphine, okay.
We could have done great work together, Singed. Pity.
Now, Singe is somebody that I have a little bit of interest in. While he was kind of, like, he was in Arcane, he wasn't like a main focal point. He was just kind of there helping Silco. You know, he had the interactions with Victor. I'm curious, I guess, where to see Singe's character goes in the, the following seasons, right?
Piltover will fall to me, Swain, not to Noxus. You forget whose money made you what you are, Victor. Doesn't matter how loud you bark or how hard you bite, Vi. A lapdog's a lapdog.
I'm loving all of her responses to all of these characters.
Zeri.
It's very good.
Perhaps I might have been more like you if my parents had survived. Poor and weak.
Wow. The trash talk. Well, you can see, though, Zeri is having some sort of effect to the point where Renata is actually acknowledging her. And from the fandom, I guess we just hear that Zeri is kind of sabotaging Renata's stuff in the end zone.
Your hex tech won't save you. Give my parents my love, won't you? You were regrettably expendable, my dear. Never cross Renata Glasc.
Okay.
I have no regrets.
These are kills with R.
I bet somebody does. Let's see Hextech do that. It's
Okay.
just business.
All right, we're going to pause again. Sorry for all the pausing. But, so, yeah, she clearly sees Hextech as inferior to her chemical, implants and improvements. So, I really, truly want to know how we think Hextech actually combines, or, like, how Hextech compares to her chemical stuff. You know what I mean?
Poor thing. You don't deserve nice things. My profit, your loss.
I was going to say, are we going to get some businesswoman kind of, like, lines in here?
This is why all my products
Yeah,
are
like this
5
kind of stuff.
stars.
Yep.
The work is never over, and I love my work.
I bet she
I
does.
mean, it's 1 health potion. What could it cost? 10,000 gold?
That's kind of
Go
funny.
away, my dear. Pray for a sense of humor.
Pray
I'll
for a
make you
sense
kill
of
your
humor.
loved ones is a more effective threat than any gun.
Wow.
Why must you be so constantly irksome? We don't have to be enemies.
Okay,
Let me
I like that
change
one.
your mind.
So, okay, I love that they used that. So they used that quote, like, on her biography page to kind of, like, those quotes are usually there to kind of highlight the characters, in my opinion, highlight the whole character's insight into, like, who they kind of are. And that quote, in my opinion, does it very well, does it
Come
justice.
around to my side with the right incentive.
I mean, that's kind of the
If
same
you're
thing.
not working for me, you're working against me.
That too, yeah.
Bold of you to stand against me. Do you know who I am? If you don't, you will.
I love her confidence
Let's not
in the
waste my
delivery,
time,
too.
Ah, good. I can write this off as a business expense. I prefer my
That's fun.
takeovers to be hostile. Indulge me.
Oh, there we go.
The
Hostile
difference
takeovers.
between
Yep.
medicine and poison is the
Oh.
dosage.
It sounds a little bit different now in the recording. Okay, first move. So the difference between medicine and poison is the dosage. Ooh.
Allow me to demonstrate. Work for me or work against me. Doesn't matter. Everyone comes to my side eventually. My favorite part of the job.
Product testing.
All right, I've got companies to buy and a city to crush, so let's make this quick. I remember starving in the sump, a pathetic little nothing of a girl. Look at me now.
I mean, she is kind of the, I don't know if there's any other kind of character in League of Legends like this, but she is kind of the definition of like rags to riches character, right?
Every fashionable Piltovan owns at least one of my products.
So trusting and so naive.
So naive.
Yep.
I love my city. But if I had to burn down Zaun to smoke out Piltover,
Oh.
well...
Now, see, that's a big difference there with Silco and Renata straight off the bat, because I know there's some comparisons, but Silco, I don't think, would let Zaun burn over, you know, to burn Piltover down.
When my parents handed out their cures, they asked for nothing. So we had nothing. Kind, but foolish.
Kind, but
it's
foolish.
expensive to be poor. But when
True.
you're rich, they just give you things.
Also true.
Hard work is its own reward. No, it's the money.
Wow.
Piltover
Yeah.
coos over perfumes, while Zaun struggles to breathe.
Oh, wow. I really like that, actually. That is that's such a defining sentence to show the difference between the rich and the poor, to show the difference between, you know, the bottom dwellers and the people up top, or just in general, the rich and the poor, or the two cities, I guess, in general. Like, that's the big difference right there.
I gave out breathers in exchange for Zaun's loyalty. Those dividends are priceless.
That's true.
I provide people with two options. Do what I want, or do what I want, but with more steps.
Okay.
Money can't buy happiness. Only someone born rich would agree with that.
Yep.
I expect to see progress when I get back.
Oh.
I need a breather. The boss shouldn't have to be in the factory for the work to get done. Is that a stain?
So I do want to pause, because the one thing about Silco, there's like a big scene in, I think maybe episode 7, 8, or 9, one of them, right? Where Silco is going into a room and he like basically throws a bunch of chemical or something into a room with the other like bosses, and they aren't able to breathe it in well, right? But he is, because he grew up in Zaun. He can breathe it. He knows the smell. His body's become used to it. I mean, that's a difference again with Renata and Silco. I guess her chemical's totally different, right? Or I don't know if it's something else that she's breathing in that might be making her cough. But Silco's character, it shows that he is a Zaunite for sure, because he's able to breathe in the toxic stuff and not have it affect him, right?
Ugh, now I need a whole new suit. All right, let's go make my accountant cry. Make them forget they ever saw me stumble. No, I will not die before Piltover falls.
Okay, so that's showing her. I mean, we know her ultimate goal, but that sentence there kind of like really confirms it and solidifies it, that she needs Piltover to fall before her work is done, right?
Mr. Cantor had better be indestructible, or somebody's getting fired. Mistakes were made. Time to collect what I'm owed. Blood is a big expense. Luckily, I'm rich. Nothing's free. All I ask is your loyalty. Someday I will call upon you to do something for me.
Something loyal. Sometimes loyalty is more important.
Renata Glasc. Remember who helped you in your hour of need.
Okay.
I'm sure my parents would be proud. Oh,
Probably, I think. Oh, that laugh.
I'll bill you later.
Okay, E-cast.
Disrupting the market. I adore this arm. Step aside, worm.
Worm.
Now, out of my way.
Okay.
I'll make a killing off of this. You work for me now. Kill them and
I like
suffer.
these kind of lines
My
because we don't get
latest
these in the
product.
interactions video.
Don't think, just do.
Don't
Get
think,
the job
just
done.
do.
That's an order. Prove your worth. Don't make me ask again.
Prove your worth.
Sick 'em. You know what to do. Make them pay. Time to make some new business partners.
Okay.
Ready to take control. Progress.
Progress.
You owe me. Loyalty is rewarded. Well done, pet.
I like that one.
I'm a giver.
Okay,
For
using a
the
word.
needy, a charitable donation.
She
They
doesn't
ought to
give
thank
those.
me. A worthy investment.
Yeah, there you go.
Finally, I can see them again.
Oh.
There's a reason I call the shot.
Okay, I got to pause there because, you know, it is mentioned while she doesn't like the way her parents conducted business because they were poor and they were just giving out charity, you know, she still loves her parents and does want to see them again, right?
I don't forgive debts, and I never forget them. Progress comes at a price others aren't willing to pay. Throw scraps to the hungry, and they thank you for the feast. Zon deserves more.
That's also true.
I don't need to get my hands dirty. Oh, but I do enjoy
But she
it.
enjoys it, okay?
Ambition isn't greed. Zon is not beneath.
Ambition isn't greed. I agree with that, but to a certain point, it can become greed, right?
Over, no matter how it may appear.
I like
she
that.
Who controls the Sun Gate, controls
Right,
the
that's her
world.
ultimate goal is the Sun Gate, right?
Most Chem Barons are lackeys who failed upward. Years of investing in Zon has paid off handsomely. Empires aren't built on enough. No one even thought to invest in Chemtech before I did. The other Chem Barons fear my reach, as they should.
Yep.
Piltover will suffer for its crimes against me. My
Dang.
decanter is just one more pawn to push. I
Okay.
used to have rivals, now I have business partners. Wealth writes the laws that governments enforce. Ugh, the air is so much thinner up here. Piltover doesn't deserve the Sun Gate. Competition is for the weak. I dominate.
Wow.
Who said Chemtech can't be beautiful? Power
Okay.
can be bought.
See, when I think of Chemtech though, I think of like Singed and like the green, right? Like in I played a little bit of Teamfight Tactics, and the green liquid or whatever or chemicals is what I always seem to be the Chemtech stuff.
Loyalty. All my parents left me was my name. Now it's worth millions.
There you go.
Get a job.
Get a job.
High-class Chemtech. Watch the suit. Money talks.
Watch the suit.
Worthless wretch. Your value's dropped. Don't hold your breath. Die for me. I said jump. We're downsizing.
We're
busy.
downsizing. I like that
Breathe
one.
Deep. Filth. Choke. Waste of my time.
Dang. All right, that's it.
I won.
All right. I kind of want to talk a little bit about some of these, but I kind of just want to move on to the special interactions because I'm a little, well, I'm not afraid, but I assume a lot of them are actually going to be repeats, a little bit slowed down, and you'll actually see the other characters. But overall, you know, I kind of paused and discussed everything that I kind of wanted to. Of course, we got to like a lot of these voice lines with My Profit, You're Lost, her being like a businesswoman in Zon. But you can really see in some of the voice lines here her disgust for Piltover and how she thinks Zon is better. You know, there's a couple voice lines towards the end where she definitely wants to take over the Sun Gate because she's saying Piltover doesn't deserve it. The very beginning here, and she 100% blames Piltover for the loss of her parents. Now, my thing is I wonder if she thinks, you know, if she still would have became the person she is now, though, if she hadn't lost her parents. You know what I mean? Like, there's always the story of, like, who knows? She might have been a totally different person if her parents never died, right? She might have still been poor. She might have never been, you know, created Glasc Industries. And it's kind of interesting that she sets her whole business thing on, like, taking over Piltover and blaming Piltover for the loss of her parents. And she's still trying to prove to her parents, like, she became something, you know, even though they're gone, and she still loves them, but she doesn't like their ideology with charity and stuff like that. I don't know. It's very interesting. And I think it's a good origin story to her character, but we got more of that, you know, dialogue in here about her parents and stuff. So that was really cool. The only interactions we had were towards the beginning, but let's go ahead and do the next video for the interactions, and we'll discuss Renata Glasc overall as a character. And, well, yeah, we'll finish out the video. All right, everybody, we got 6.5 minutes of Renata Glasc special interactions. Let's do it.
You forget whose money made you what you are, Victor.
See, that's what makes me believe we'll get her in like season 3, perhaps, maybe.
Two alchemists were murdered over 30 years ago, Camille. Do you remember them? How were your parents, Echo? If only you'd let me help them.
Yeah.
Where were you when we needed you most, Janna?
Aha. See, I don't know anything about Janna, but we will get to her eventually.
Jinx, you're wasting both your time and your talent. I will choke your city and laugh as they suffocate Piltover. I bankrolled your pistol's makers, Samira. Those guns are mine by right.
Okay.
Sing your little songs of unity while you can.
We need to get to
treasure.
Seraphine, I feel like. I know she's also
We could have
newer.
done great work together, Singed. Pity.
Okay, so that's another thing where, see, I didn't mention this in the voice lines, but we could see Singe start working for her in the future season.
Piltover
Maybe
will
that
fall
will
to
happen.
me, Swain, not to Noxus. Doesn't matter how
Is Swain actually not, actively even wanting to take over Piltover? I don't really know.
loud you bark or how hard you bite, Vi. A lapdog's a lapdog. Zeri.
There's Zeri,
Perhaps I might
okay.
have been more like you if my parents had survived.
Oh, right. Okay, so with my question of like, what would Renata be if she didn't actually lose her parents? Maybe like Zeri.
Poor and weak.
She might have still
We
been
don't
poor.
have to be enemies. Let me change your mind. You'll come around to my side with the right incentive. If you're not working for me, you're working against me. Bold of you to stand against me. Do you know who I am? If you don't, you will.
Yep. Especially if you live in Zon or Piltover. Well, if you don't know about her in Zon or Piltover, that'd be interesting. I mean, obviously, living somewhere else like Ionia, you might not.
Let's not waste my time, Ah, good.
Honestly,
I
that's
can
how
write
I
this
kind of
off
feel
as a
sometimes. Don't
business
waste my time.
expense. I prefer my takeovers to be hostile. Indulge me.
Indulge me.
Your hex tech won't save you. Give my parents my
We definitely
love,
need to
won't
do. You know what I should really do? You guys let me know in the comments if I should do this, but I should probably actually do a reaction to all of the actual Arcane characters. Jinx, Caitlyn, Vi, you know what I mean, and so on, Victor.
Because
I technically haven't done them yet. Oh, her R kill. Okay.
Never cross Renata Glasc. I have no regrets, but I bet somebody does. Let's see Hex
That's a way to
do
live.
that.
No regrets.
It's just business.
Ooh, I like that line. It's
Poor
just
thing.
business.
You don't deserve
That's
nice
all a
things.
lot of things are probably to her is business.
My profit.
Almost everything,
your
probably.
Loss. Oh, the price of progress. This is why all my products are 5 stars. Nothing's free. All I ask is your loyalty. Someday I will call upon you to do something for me.
Yep.
Let the world know
Nothing's
the
free to Renata
generosity
Glasc.
of Renata Glasc. Remember who helped you in your hour of need.
Yep.
I'm sure my parents would be proud.
Well, okay, see, I want to get back to that voice line. I don't know if they would, right? Like, I guess we don't truly know her parents, but if her parents were truly the ones that were, like, all about charity and helping those in need, the way she's become is the complete opposite, right?
Work is
Even though
never
she's very
over,
rich and successful.
I love my work.
But we'll never know.
You owe me.
Okay, this is when, yep, the revive from
Loyalty is
W.
rewarded. Well done, Pet.
See, she won't do anything without an ulterior motive, right? Like, if she helps you, she
Go
expects
away,
something
my
in
dear.
return.
Pray for a sense of humor.
For sure.
Why must you be so constantly irksome? I'm a giver.
Oh, her ward is a monkey?
For the needy.
Wait, that's gotta be the
Charitable
Jinx monkey.
donation.
That's just a special
They
one, I
ought to
imagine.
thank me. A worthy investment.
Investment.
them
She sees
forget
everybody as
they ever saw
investments.
me
That's what it
stumble.
is.
No, I will not die before Piltover falls. This decanter had better be indestructible, or somebody's getting fired.
Yeah, okay, why does she walk around with the decanter? Was it ever actually really mentioned? It just kind of like she has a decanter.
X were made. Time to collect what I'm owed. Blood is a big expense. Luckily, I'm rich. The difference between medicine and poison is the dosage.
The dosage, yeah.
Allow me to demonstrate.
That's actually really
Work
true
for me
for a lot
or
of
work
medicine.
against me.
It
Doesn't
really is
matter.
true.
Everyone comes to my side eventually. Ah, my favorite part of the job. Product testing.
Product testing, right.
All right, I've got companies to buy and a city to crush, so let's make this quick.
Huh.
I remember starving in the sump. A pathetic little nothing of a girl.
Oh.
Look at me now.
I mean, she has every right to be proud of where she is now. 100%.
One of my products.
Yeah.
So trusting, so naive.
Yep. And I wonder if we'll get that happening in lore in the future. Like we'll have a big Piltover Zon thing. I don't know. Or if they'll just leave it to the Arcane.
When my parents handed out their cures, they asked for nothing. So we had nothing.
Yep.
Kind, but foolish.
When you ask for nothing, you will have nothing.
But when you're rich, they just give you things.
I really like that voice line, actually.
Hard work
because it's
is its
very
own
true.
reward. No, it's the money. Piltover coos over perfumes. Well, Zon's
This is
struggles to
probably my
breathe.
favorite, actually,
I
that
gave
one
out
right there.
breathers in exchange for Zon's loyalty. Those dividends are priceless. I provide people with two options. Do what I want, or do what I want, but with more steps.
That's a really good one, too.
Money can't buy happiness.
Oh, this one's
Only
great.
someone born rich would agree with that.
Yep, and that's true as well. All right, yeah, like those voice lines right there. So those towards the end, like these long moves and first move voice lines, very much show you her ideology as a rich person or as a poor person who became rich, right? She's not a person that was born rich. So she's able to have these ideas and these thoughts, and basically she is using herself as an example to show why they are true, especially like the one where, you know, it's expensive to be poor. Hard work is its own reward. No, it's the money. You know, the rich are always handed things. It's expensive to be poor, things like that, right? Like it very much makes sense, her ideology on money and business, because she is somebody that became successful from being poor. And if she can't use her own example of her own life to show you why these things are true, then, I mean, how else can you prove it, right? Okay, I will say the interactions, I don't think we actually got anything new, but I'm still fine. You know, I do actually like these kind of videos over the voice line videos because we get to see, you know, the actual in-game stuff. You get to see what situation they might be in. But let's talk about Renata Glasc overall as a character. I really thank you guys for suggesting her. I think she is different than everybody else we have taken a look at. And I mean, of course, all the characters we've taken a look at have been unique in their own way. But she is she the first Zonite? No, she's not the first Zonite I've done. Technically, Urgot is not from Zon, but we did do a reaction to Urgot a while back. But I think she might be the like official first Zon character that we've really focused in on. And that is, you know, she's a leader of Zon almost in the sense. Because we don't have Silco technically in the game. And I don't think Silco's ever going to become a character. I know he was in TFT for a little bit there. I don't know how that worked. You guys let me know how Silco worked in TFT. I'm not quite sure. But it's kind of cool that we started off with Renata Glasc here. You know, obviously I watched the Arcane show, but we're starting off with Renata Glasc, which is giving us the top-down version of Zon here. We're seeing what one of the most influential leaders of Zon, what they want to do with Piltover, what their thoughts are on Zon, what their thoughts are on, you know, just the other people helping her in Zon, the poor people, and how she views Piltover as a whole, like I said. Even though she's in this position where she's able to do something, she's kind of the richest person. Well, maybe not the richest person in Zon. She probably is. But, you know, she has such an influence over Piltover because of her perfumes and things like that and her augments and whatnot. She still holds a lot of the viewpoints and values that I'm sure the majority of Zonites actually have about Piltover, because they know Piltovans think of them as lower, as beneath them, as whatever, like the way they're perceived in the Arcane show, right? I'm sure Zeri thinks that's how they're viewed. Same with Echo. Same with all the, you know, Jinx and Vi and all them. That's how they're viewed down there. So even though Renata Glasc is actually rich and successful, she still holds the same viewpoints that I think the other poor people in Zonite have about Piltover, and they don't like the current situation, right? Who would, I guess. So I always also like to talk about where their lore could lead in the future, you know, just based on where they've left off the character in the biography and the story, and just where we have the voice lines and whatnot. So yeah, there's a lot that could happen with Renata Glasc in the future. She could totally, you know, the Piltover Zon thing, I think could possibly be a big event in the actual League of Legends lore instead of just Arcane, but maybe they'll keep it in Arcane. But I would like to see, you know, Renata Glasc's attempt to take over the Sungate actually happen. I hope it just doesn't stay here and it just leads off with just her wanting to take over the Sungate, but then nothing happens with it. I know some people are saying there's kind of a dry spell with the lore from Riot currently, but maybe that's because they're focusing a little bit on Arcane. I don't know. I don't know what's happening with the dry spell from Riot on that, but you know, a lot of these characters get left off and we have no idea what's going to happen to them. But Renata Glasc, like, I want something to happen where there's this big war between Piltover and Zaun, maybe in the game. Maybe they're saving a lot of it for the MMO. And it seems like some people are leaving it to say maybe they're trying to save a lot of that stuff to just have it develop more in the MMO. That's going to come in the very long future. And I could see that. You know, Piltover and Zaun could be a very good focal point, I think, for the MMO to perceive this war between the two cities. And yeah, I mean, I would hope that we would get more Renata Glasc lore before then. Just something updating her on what's going on between her and her trying to take over the Sungate. But we might not get anything until the MMO. Who honestly knows? All right, guys, as always, let me know if there's anything I may have missed about Renata Glasc. Sometimes I do miss either videos or sometimes I miss some sort of lore or something that I just totally didn't understand from these voice lines. Please let me know in the comments. I appreciate it. And if you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate a like on the video. It does help the YouTube algorithm and it lets, you know, YouTube know what you want to watch in the future. I do have a bunch of other reactions on the channel, so please do check those out and consider subscribing to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.